This video demonstrates how to use the unique tool to identify duplicate claims. This video then demonstrates how to use the join, union, browse, and output data tools to see both of the duplicate claims and export that information to an Excel spreadsheet so that we can support a recommendation for further analysis. One potential item that needs to be considered for our case is whether there are duplicate claims. This could either be due to fraudulent activity or as a result of mistakes. Regardless of the reason, insurance companies should be made aware of potential duplicate claims so that they can investigate these claims further. We can quickly identify duplicate claims in Alteryx by using the unique tool. The unique tool is the last tool on the preparation menu, and you can easily navigate to it using the right-hand arrows, selecting it and dragging it onto our canvas. As we can see from our configuration options, the unique tool can identify duplicate observations based on any field in our data set. While it might make sense to look for duplicate claims based on policy numbers, we should think about the data being evaluated in our case. Here, we are considering whether there are duplicate claims for roof damage due to hailstorm. Since each house should only have one roof, we might be best served by finding duplicate claims for the same house or apartment number and street address. This way, we may identify claims where claimants are making claims for the same house to different insurance companies. To identify claims generated from the same house and street address, we actually want Alteryx to identify an alignment between 4 of our fields, the house number and the street address, but we also would like the alignment to consider the zip code and the city. This way we don't errantly flag a claim that has the same house or apartment number and street address, but is in different cities or zip codes. Now that we have configured our unique tool, we can go ahead and run our workflow. We see that, similar to the filter tool, the unique tool has 2 output anchors. The U output anchor stands for unique and will identify the first observation that matches the criteria that we have selected. The D output anchor stands for duplicate and identifies the next or all additional observations where the house or apartment number, street address, city, and zip code matches an observation in the U output anchor. I went ahead and created a fictitious duplicate claim just for the purpose of these videos so that I could demonstrate the process to you without showing you the solution. The initial observation, again, does not appear in the D output anchor. It is going to appear in the U output anchor. To pull both observations, we can use a join tool from the join menu. So go ahead and navigate up to the join menu and pull down a join tool, allowing the left input anchor of the join tool to connect with the U output anchor from the unique tool. We're then going to connect the D output anchor to the R or right hand input anchor for our join tool. Our join tool is the first tool that we've seen where we have 2 input anchors. That's because we're going to join 2 separate data sets together. When we have both data sets connected into our join tool, the next thing that we need to do is we need to join either by record position or by specific field. For the most part, you're probably going to use the join by specific field. And here, just like we did with the unique tool, we're going to have Alteryx consider the alignment between all 4 of our fields that we were looking for. So we're going to join our house number in the unique data set with the house number in the duplicate data set. Then we're going to join the street addresses. Then we're going to join based on the zip codes. And finally, we're going to join based on the city. Now that we have all 4 of the conditions met for the join tool, we're going to go ahead and run. in addition to being unique because it's the only tool we've seen so far with 2 input anchors, the join tool also has 3 output anchors. The L output anchor would identify all observations that were not matched by the join tool that came out of the left input anchor. And in this case, they would have come out of the unique output anchor from the unique tool. The R output anchor would identify any records that were not matched by the join tool from the right-hand side. So if it was unable to match our duplicate claim, then we would see that here. The J output anchor is going to identify the observation that matches from our unique output anchor and our duplicate output anchor. And again, we still only see one claim here, but this is the other side of our claim. So here under the D output anchor, we have the original claim that was identified. And now under the J output anchor, we have the new claim that is identified as coming from the same house, street, city, and zip code. Now we want to put both of our claims together so that we can support a recommendation for further analysis. It's easy to do this using the union tool. So staying under the join menu, we're going to select the union tool and we're going to drag it until it connects to the J output anchor from our join tool. As you can see, this union tool has a single input anchor, but it looks a little bit different because it has multiple input arrows going to it. What that means in Alteryx is that you can combine as many data sets as you would like. Here, we're going to drag the output anchor for our D also to the input anchor for our union tool. And basically what we're doing in our union tool is we're just saying, hey, take the data out of the J output anchor from the join tool and the data from the D output anchor on the unique tool and just stack them together. So now we can go ahead and run. And what we can see is that now we have both of our duplicate claims in one place. Now that we have both of our claims in one location, we can do one of two things. One, we can move to the in and out menu and select the browse tool if we just wanted to look at the claims in a little bit more depth than what we see in the results menu. The other option that we're going to use though is we're going to export this data into an Excel spreadsheet because we're going to make a recommendation that these claims be analyzed further. So we can go ahead and stay on the in and out menu and we can select the output data tool and move it to join with the output anchor from our union tool. The output tool acts very similar to the input tool in that in the configuration pane we can see that we need to tell Alteryx where to write the file. We're going to go ahead and click on the down arrow to open up our data connections menu. It stayed on the files option and now we're going to go to the select a file. And remember, we want to save all of our data in one place. So it's nice that Alteryx has remembered that we're saving the data into the Your Name Storm Path Analysis dataset. We're going to call this file name Your Name Duplicate Claims. And we're going to leave the file type as an XLSX format, designating the Microsoft Excel format. And we can go ahead and click on Save. And we will see that we have an option for Sheet 1. So we want to go ahead and say, yeah, there's only going to be one sheet to this data set. Go ahead and click OK. The last thing that we're going to want to do, however, is we may be running this Alteryx workflow multiple times. So what the current configuration says is that it's going to create a new sheet each time we run this workflow. That may not be ideal because it's the same data being written out every single time. So what we want to do is we want to use the drop-down menu for Options Output, and then we want to select Overwrite the File Remove. And basically what that says is every time you run this Alteryx workflow, go ahead and remove the previous file and replace it with the new file. Now that we've configured our output data tool, we can go ahead and run. And what we will see now is if we go into our File Explorer and we find the folder where we have been saving everything, we now have a new Excel spreadsheet that has the exact name that we would like to that we have asked it to have. And now we can double click and we can see both of the claims in the same place so that we can forward those on for further analysis.